Alrighty, I just read to you Isaiah 53, which was the prophecy concerning the crucifixion of Jesus and the reason why he was crucified. It was for the iniquity of Israel, that he would be numbered among the transgressors. And the details are important, but during the Easter season, the details, I believe, are overemphasized. Because when he got to the cross, it was no longer for Israel. I'll explain a little bit later, but now I'm going to get back to the details here in John chapter 19, starting at verse 17. And he, Jesus, bearing his cross, went forth to a place called the place of a skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him and two other on either side, and Jesus in the midst. And Pilate wrote a title and placed it on the cross, and the writing was Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh the city. It was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Then the chief priests of the Jews said to Pilate, Write not the King of the Jews, but he said, I am the King of the Jews. These were the ultra-religious people. Pilate answered them and said, What I have written. Basically, he's saying, get over it. I'm not changing what I wrote. Verse 23. Then the soldiers, when they had crucified Jesus, took his garments and made 4 parts, to every soldier a part, and also his coat. Now the coat was without seam, woven from the top throughout. They said, therefore, among themselves, Let us not rend it, but cast lots for it, whose it shall be, that the scripture might be fulfilled, which saith, They parted my raiment among them, and for my vesture did they cast lots. These things, therefore, the soldiers did. Now there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother, and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple standing by, whom he loved, he saith unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then Jesus saith to the disciple, Behold thy mother. And from that hour, that disciple took her unto his own home. I believe that was so Mary would be taken care of, because Jesus loved his mom so much that he wanted somebody to be taking care of her constantly. Who wouldn't want their parents taken care of? Verse 28. After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, saith, I thirst. Now there was set a vessel full of vinegar, and they filled a sponge with vinegar, and put it upon hyssop, and put it up to his mouth. When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, It is finished. And he bowed his head, and he gave up the ghost. Now, verse 31. The Jews, therefore, because it was the preparation that the bodies should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was a high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away. How humanitarian can you be? That's just goodness. Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first and of the other which was crucified with him. Like I said, how humanitarian can you be? But when they came to Jesus and saw he was dead already, they brake not his legs. But one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and forthwith came out blood and water. And he that saw it bare record that it be true. He knoweth that he saith is true, that ye might believe. For these things were done, that the scripture should be fulfilled. A bone of him shall not be taken. And another scripture saith, they shall look upon him whom they pierced. After this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Jesus, but secretly for fear of the Jews, because they did not like Jesus, besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Jesus. And Pilate gave him leave. He came therefore and took the body of Jesus. Verse 39. And there came also Nicodemus, who at the first came to Jesus by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100-pound weight, pretty heavy. Then took the body of Jesus and wound it in linen cloths with the spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury. And it's important that you notice the phrase linen cloths, plural. I'll explain why later. Now in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre or tomb, wherein was never a man yet laid. There laid Jesus, therefore, because of the Jews' preparation day, for the sepulchre was nigh at hand.